The number one source of friction in your engine is not what you think. Piston rings rubbing against the cylinder walls generate more friction than any other part of the engine. More friction and temperature means more wear and less horsepower. Fortunately, the team at Total Seal knows how to reduce friction and wear through innovative piston ring design. If it takes a piston, Total Seal can build a better ring.
For more than a decade, FTI has strived to become the leader in the aftermarket performance transmission and converter industry. We've joined forces with McLeod driveline components under the leadership of Top Fuel Funny Car pilot Paul Lee, and now have a larger distribution network, more resources, and more power. Come see us in the pits and ask how you can join the FTI family. It's not cheating, it is the competitive edge.
Hey, it's Antron Brown, driver of the Macro Tools Top Fuel Dragster, and yes, I'm a 3-time world champ. But you know what? When I win, I go straight to WFO Radio, baby. I want to see you listening in.
This is WFO Radio.
Hey everybody, WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro back on the air. I'm Joe Castello and super excited for today's show. We're going to be running and gunning and talk a little NHRA 2024 with the voice of the NHRA, Alan Reinhart, and whatever happens to come up, because it is the winter break and we can talk about whatever we want. We don't even need a reason. PRI Show coming up next week. That is a big deal. And today, kind of an abbreviated program, because at 2 o'clock Eastern time, 11 Pacific, going to be interviewing Tony Stewart as part of the E-Part Trade Industry Week. That is something that is absolutely free. I spoke with Antron Brown. Got to edit that, right? He's now a 4-time champ. Spoke with Antron Brown yesterday, speaking with Tony today, speaking with Erica Enders and someone from the NHRA tomorrow in front of a worldwide audience. Gunther Steiner has been on, Kyle Larson has been on, Jimmy Johnson, just so many people from the world of motorsport. And I am the person who will be handling the NHRA responsibilities today. With Tony Stewart, we'll talk about what's important, Dominic, and then we'll talk about things that are also important, but slightly less. We'll talk about Rookie of the Year status and his first season in Top Fuel and what lies ahead and all of these things. I just dropped the link to E-Part Trade in the chat section. And if you want to check it out, you can go online and register. It lasts all week long. It's nonstop all day long with great industry folks, and you will love it. It's kind of like an online PRI style seminar. You just have to, give them your email address, and then you'll have access to E-Part Trade. It is very, very cool. We'll also be talking with Alan Reinhart about the performance. We'll touch on it. Project Pontiac this past week in Emporia, Kansas. This weekend, I was up there at Gary Stinnett Racing, and we dynoed the Project Pontiac engine. It's real. It lives. It still lives, which honestly was an amazing experience, making dyno pulls, making some tests, doing a little back-to-back A/B testing with fuel from Fuel Factory. Really cool stuff. And I am super excited. There will be a video. I'll tell you a little bit about that. But right now, real quick, I want to tell you about the people who make it possible for me to go WFO. And we're super excited. We're going to hit some of these booths when we get a chance at PRI. Like, first of all, Jesse Converters. It is a factory replacement. If you're OEM replacement, catalytic converters, over-the-road diesel, you're definitely going to want to check these out. And I am super excited that the folks at Jesse, not only are they on board sponsoring Sean Reed at the end of the season, but they're on board with WFO Radio. And I am just absolutely thrilled. Go to Jesse Converters to find out more information and scan that QR code. It's as simple as that. Thank you, Latino family. You heard a little bit about Total Seal piston rings. We'll be doing hidden horsepower from booth number 1525 on the floor at PRI. We've already got Greg Anderson scheduled, many more. It's going to be great. You can swing by the booth. You can check out a little hidden horsepower. But most importantly, talk to Keith Jones about Kevin Studaker and all the guys about why Total Seal piston rings are going to be better for your application. We just posted a new episode of Hidden Horsepower FAQ. Frequently asked questions. If you're going to order piston rings, what do you need to provide? What do you need to gather? What do you need to know to make the information process as easy and simple as possible? Total Seal, booth number 1525. I will also be going by the FTI booth. 180 straight cut gear power glide going in Project Pontiac. But next up for us on our little exploratory journey is torque converter selection. I sent them the dyno sheet. We talked a little bit about weight of the car and what a process it is. They want to know everything so that they can create the right torque converter FTI performance. And that's exactly what you're going to get when you go to FTI, race winning knowledge. And you just got to go to the winner's circle to see all the folks that use FTI, FTIperformance.com. When you call them, let them know you heard about it on WFO Radio. Also planning to be in the booth of CWT Industries, 5223 and 5323. It's a double booth there. Why? Because they've got a bunch of balance machines. If you want to go over there and check out the balance machines with me, I will let you know exactly when I'm going to be there. We're still working out the schedule. We can come over, see Randy, hang out as a group. If you want to do that, reach out to me, Joe at WFOradio.com, or just get me up on social. Slide into the DM on X or on Facebook or however you choose to reach out to me. CWT Industries, you can learn about the software, the touchscreen, can see an example of it work, and you'll be with a trusted friend as opposed to walking up cold. But Randy Neal, super cool guy. HusseyPerformance.net, David Allen going to be in the house. He gives out his number. How about this? Gaskets, more than just copperhead gaskets these days. 724-318-8292. 724-318-8292. It's all done in Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania, all made in America. HusseyPerformance.net. Bernie Speed Shop just had Bruno and Motor Trend over there doing some filming. That is the kind of place this is, over 100,000 square feet up there in Ocala, Florida. We'll be starting the season off, a little fan fest action, hopefully, at Bernie's Speed Shop. Josh Hart and the team bringing on Jason McCullough. Things are trending in the right direction for the Bernie's team. Go to bernies.com, and I've done my job. Check out their inventory. Maybe you want to sell a classic muscle car or exotic. Maybe you want to buy one. Maybe you want to scout some inventory. Go to Bernie's, BURNYZZ.com. Of course, our great friends at Foggett, 20% off. Black Friday 2024 is the promo code. Go to Foggett.com right now, 20% off. That's going to be Reinhart's Christmas gift for me this year. It's like a couple of cans of Foggett. Black Friday 2024, that is the promo code. If you go to Foggett.com, you're going to get 20% off for Black Friday. Pretty great stuff. Big shout out to our friends at Frank Hawley's and Marvin Rodek. We'll tell you a little bit about them later on in the show. But right now, let's go out to Tucson, Arizona and connect with the voice of the NHRA, Alan Reinhart, who is not there. Where is he? He's Reinhart.
Hey, Joe, bad news. I'm actually in Kansas, and I just came back from the dyno room.
No! You're making fun of me, but this is true what I'm about to tell you, and I find it to be funny. This is not an experience I go through on a regular basis. You've been in dyno rooms, you've worked in dyno shops, and so maybe you know this and maybe you don't. I've talked to a couple of people. The only time we've dynoed an engine that belongs to us was like in 1999, and I remember just being kind of naive and excited. And this time, while I was traveling to Emporia, I had this feeling like in my stomach, like, what is that? Do I have an ulcer? What is this? Do I have a problem? What is going on? Why do I feel that? What is that feeling? And I didn't know. And as we go there, I was tight, man. I was nervous. Like I felt anxiety is what it was. I felt anxiety. And after dyno pull 6, right, where it's like, all right, from what I know, if the bad part isn't, like people who don't like all these parts from every amazing company, every once in a while, there's a story that something went bad on the dyno. I mean, do you have any went bad on the dyno stories?
Oh, yeah. I mean, everybody that spent any time in a dyno room has stories of cleaning oil off the walls, but it's interesting because, I went through the same thing doing the engine for the Mustang that's behind me when I was down at David Nicken's place. And that was engine number 1 that I got a little bit carried away with that now spends its time in a top sportsman car. Engine number 2 is the one that's in the car. But when we've got, 8 Pro Stock motors, and it's like, okay, well, we're going to dyno this one. Okay, well, then we're going to dyno this one. And if something goes wrong, it's like, okay, we'll get that one off and get this one on. And, we'll check out, see what's going on with that one. But in the meantime, get the next one in here. But I only had one. So it's one of those, if something goes wrong with this one, that's way worse than, oh, well, one of the group had some kind of an issue. So no, I know exactly what you're feeling because, you walk in there and I've been to Gary's shop, you look at all the engines lined up on the floor and you're thinking, well, geez, but only one of them's mine, right? If you walk in and he's got something on the dyno and he's trying this and he's trying that, and all of a sudden it makes that horrid noise, you're going to go, oh, geez, I feel bad for that guy. Okay, what are we going to do now? But if it's your motor, then it's like, oh. So anyway,
well, exactly. So the feeling that, whatever it was, the tumor growing in my stomach or whatever, it was like, what is that? Do I need to go to the doctor? Suddenly, amazingly, it went away after a few dyno pulls. And now I feel much better about it. But I was genuinely nervous for all of those reasons you said. Like if something happened, another one was not just going to fall out of the sky. It was going to be, we play taps and move on. And I take up slot car racing. But we did have, yes.
You met your goal though, right?
Well, and that's the thing. I wanted to document this whole deal. I have what I'm calling a teaser video. We hired, and I just want to sing this young man's praises, a very sharp videographer, 18 years old, named Braylon Rooker. I put out a call on Facebook, the old help, I'm going to be in Kansas. Does anybody know how to use a video camera? And this young man reached out to me, and it turns out I had worked with him and knew him from the Topeka area, and he had come up to me and, shook my hand and said, hi, and he was in Charlotte, and I remember seeing, and he did a great job. And I am super excited about this young man's future. He's 18 years old, and he is loving drag racing and NHRA and being involved. And, he hangs out with Larry Spider-Man McBride, hangs out with Palmer. He's doing whatever it takes to be whatever he wants to be. And he's, got 10 different things that he's got his hands in, but he came in and gave us full focus. He was there early. He stayed late. He handled the deal. And so he's putting together a video that's going to showcase the final result. But I do have a teaser video that I'll have to cut off early that I'm just going to show for you and the audience so that hopefully everybody will subscribe to the YouTube channel and enjoy the video when we drop it, because I want to make sure everybody sees this young man's work. And I will tell you that we did have two goals. There was the Joe goal and there was the Gary goal, right? Like the Joe goal initially coming in, our previous engine, we went 1020s at about 600 horsepower. We've slowed down to 1090s was the goal eventually. But with all of this, I thought, increasing 150 horsepower and getting 750 would make me happy. That's what's going to make me happy. But then
that's a big step. I mean, literally, that's a 25% increase from 600.
That would have made me happy.
Yeah.
But then when Edelbrock offered, Mark Campbell from Edelbrock, who I knew through the Engine Performance Expo, and offered me some of those aluminum Ram Air 4 heads to showcase what they're capable of. And then John Gadosh from Gadosh Performance, who is a Pontiac, guru expert, said, Joe, I've got a CNC.
Welcome to the slippery slope. We're just going to do this one little, okay, let's do that. Oh, well, you can do that too? And then we can do that?
So here's what happened. So Gadosh is like, I've got a CNC program already for those heads, Joe. They're plenty good enough for what you want to do. And with my stuff, it made this. And so that number was higher than the 750, right? A 780, 790, something like that. I thought, okay, yeah. So sent him to Gadosh and he ran him through the CNC machine with the port that he had done. So that went back to Gary. And Gary's like, boy, we're so, that high sevens. He's like, I hope we can make 8. And that's where I'll leave it. The goal from Gary was 8. From me was 750. I think I've been pretty clear about that the whole way. Let's watch this little teaser video and hopefully.
So wait a minute. So your goal was 750 and his goal was 800 and you guys made 1550?
Isn't it great? Right? Nitro. It is really amazing.
Set the record in A modified. Dude, look at you go.
Yeah, exactly. Remember, it's a 3,200 pound car, back half, it's got a 4-link, but I want to run, and I've always wanted to run Super Street. It's a 3,200 pound car. This thing is really heavy. Want to run in the Lucas Oil Series a couple times a year before we start the tour. That's my goal. That's what Project Pontiac is all about. People were like, make it a pro touring car, make it a pro street car, just drive it around. There's no bracket tracks in South Florida anymore, Alan. Like if I'm going to go somewhere, I got to go to Speed World Orlando, got to drive hours and hours. I might as well do it for NHRA Lucas Oil competition. And so here's a teaser video. Check it out.
What's up, everybody? Today we are in Emporia, Kansas at Stinnett Racing. We're going to dyno Project Pontiac. Yes! That's how it's supposed to happen right here.
A lot of work on profession. We talked about this project 2 years ago at the PRI.
And I'm just going to clip it off a little bit. So, like I think Gary mentions the number there, the final number. And so I would love for people to check out. We're trying to build subscriptions to our YouTube channel, and Project Pontiac's got its own playlist. You can track some of the history. And the young man, Braylon Rooker, did a great job. Honestly, I want to showcase his work as well. What will happen?
Now that you've got the engine, and as I understand it, it's headed for PRI, right? It's going to be on display.
Yes, it is going to be at Foggett booth 2312 on display. And we're inviting everybody who had a hand in it, like Billy Godbold and Lake Speed and Keith Jones and everybody that had a hand in it, John Gadosh and Keith Wilson, everybody that had a hand in it one way or another is going to be invited to come by on Friday between 4 and 5 and, meet and greet and check out the engine and have a look at it and, just enjoy it.
So what's the scheduled first burnout?
Well, we have ourselves a legitimate build project deadline situation going on right here. I want to be at Speed World Dragway in Orlando, February 21st they have a test and tune the day before, I think, Thursday, and then divisional racing Friday and Saturday is the goal. If that cannot be achieved, then a week later at the Baby Gators, where you're going to be.
If you can't get that thing put together in 3 months, I mean, come on.
I know.
You should be doing a burnout on, New Year's Day. I'm just looking at my calendar over here.
Okay, so first of all, yes, Alan, that is true. That's what kind of how I feel. But we need to get the engine in the car. I need to go to TBM. We're going to put brakes on it because the thing's going to be a lot faster. We're going to get some brakes, hopefully, put on. I mean, I guess I don't have to have the brakes on for the first run, but I would like them to be on. I've got some suspension parts we're going to put on the car as well. And most importantly, and I would think the most challenging, is wire in the new ignition system and all the associated Super Street stuff, which it has none of that. And so that's going to do it. There's a couple of things that are happening. I'm going to Dallas for the holidays, the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Coming back January 4th, by the way, you had wanted me to tell you about this. Celebration of life for my dad at the Darrell Gwynn Memorial Car Show in Pompano, Saturday night, January 4th. It's the 25th year. This is a car show where they bring nitro cars and fire them up in a neighborhood at, Sheehan, Pontiac, GMC. And we decided to do my dad's celebration of life there because he used to love to go to it once a year. 2, all our racer friends are already there. 3, I wanted someplace with drag race cars that are going to fire up and also 50s and 60s doo-wop music that my dad loved. And I was like, am I going to recreate this situation, or am I just going to bring the celebration of life to what is a South Florida tradition for our car culture? So that's going to be happening Saturday, January 4th. So all that stuff is going to take, some bandwidth. But then after that, it's full steam ahead. Project Pontiac, I got, like you said, call it a month and a week to wire the car and get some parts bolted on. I think we're going to be able to do it. Right trailers ready. I got to pick it up after PRI. So it's all these things are converging for Project Pontiac. But, talking about is one thing, doing it is another. We're definitely going to put all in full effort and see if we can get it done. And I think we will.
All right. Well, I guess we'll find out. But you got 3 weeks between now and Christmas. You should do something. I mean, come on.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's this thing, I got this wise idea to take the undercoating off the car. right? And so I'm under there with a grinder, and the pieces of undercoating are all on my face, and it's terrible. And I'm becoming less and less interested in doing that. So we might just be painting it black under there. But that was recommended by our Ignition audience last night. Just paint it black, Joe. Clean it up as best as you can from now. Paint it black, and then I can move forward from that point. And after seeing Gary's stuff, like there's that too, like the underhood area. Like we're about to put what I consider to be a work of art. This Project Pontiac engine is amazing. Like it looks to me just stunning, and I got to dress up the engine bay as much as I possibly can, like clean the areas that are, going to be tough to clean after the engine goes in there. So I got some work to do, but we're going to do it. We're going to do it. Don't worry. We're going to do it. You ask all the right questions though, Reinhart. It's like you've done this before.
Birds in 27 or 28, the way you're going.
I feel like we're timing it out well. Engine is done before the first of the year. Let's see what everybody else. This guy, Val, just is happy that you're working. This guy's always working. Justin's ready for 2025. All of these things. Let's see. Get him to the track. Need fresh talent on the racing social side. I don't know who he's talking about. Braylon Rooker. He's already there, baby. This kid's going to be amazing. He's going to try to get hired by 50 people. But I'm happy that, I could be wrong, but aren't you chassis spec limited to Super Street? I don't think you can spec for Super Gas. No, the car would pass certification. Absolutely. And will. That's something that we're going to do. Just have never had to do it. Hey, I miss John Gadosh on the NHRA Tour. Great man, great Pontiac man. Why are you coming to Dallas? Are you actually going to Ennis? I'm going there for family holiday purposes. And sounds like a fitting tribute to my dad. Nice work, Joe. And that's great. Yeah, I figured, I want all his racer friends to be there. And so why not just go to where they are already going to be and make it easy for them? All right, let's enough about me, Alan. Enough about me. We talked about me here more. Let's talk about Tony Stewart and the season. I'm going to be talking to him here in 20 minutes. So let's knock out, it's actually at the top of the hour. How big a deal was this? Tony Stewart, his accolades. I feel like some in our community, maybe, and Matt Hagan's the first one to tell you this, didn't fully understand the significance of the resume of Tony Stewart. Had to go to Google. Matt Hagan said that many times. Like, who is Tony Stewart? Shocking as that might be to us, there are a lot of drag racing fans that are like it. So the switch to Top Fuel, winning Rookie of the Year. Explain it.
Well, I mean, that certainly is a big deal on the pro side. The thing, though, that I'm really impressed with is the fact that he actually won a championship driving the McPhillips car, the Central region. And that's no easy place to make a living. Remember, think of everybody that runs out there in the Central region, including, that's right, the Randy Meyer cars spend a lot of time hanging out there. And the fact that he went to 5 final rounds, won 4 of them, I think is pretty impressive over on that side of the fence. What he did in the Top Fuel car, anybody that's surprised about Tony being able to get acclimated and adjust and do well in the Top Fuel car, maybe should do some Googling, because everything that he's done from a motorsport standpoint, he's been successful at. He's very driven to succeed. And he's also, he's a guy that, even as accomplished as he is, I mean, he's in the NASCAR Hall of Fame. And, again, look up his accolades. When he started drag racing, he didn't come in going, I'm Tony Stewart. I can do anything. This is driving in a straight line. How tough can this be? He came in and said, okay, I know there's things I have to learn here. What's my best avenue? And he did what you've done, what I've done, what millions. He called Frank Hawley. And he said, I want to come and I want to learn from there. Went through the Super Comp program, the gas dragster program. Spent some time in a little bit of a faster car. And everywhere along the way, he has been more ears than he has been talk. If somebody comes over and says, hey, look out for this, or beware of this, or here's something you're going to encounter at some point, he has wanted to absorb that information, because he doesn't want to just get in a car so he can get in a car and say, look, I did it. He wants to do it well. And he understands how important the driver is from a don't screw up my run standpoint. The greatest crew chief in the world is going to have zero success If the driver doesn't do the same burnout every time, doesn't back up the same every time, doesn't do the routine exactly the same, and as simple as that sounds, when you start doing it, you understand how critical it really is. And that's the thing that I think a lot of people, I think that raised a lot of eyebrows from people, was that he wasn't just coming in going, I'm Tony Stewart. I can drive a sprint car. I can drive a midget. I can drive an Indy car. I can drive a NASCAR machine. I can drive. And this is just driving in a straight line. Just, start the thing and get out of the way. He came in and said, how do I excel at this? What do I need to know to be better than average? What do I need to know to be able to step up? And if I'm not mistaken, even looking at what most people use as the ultimate yardstick for a driver, I believe he was top 5 in average reaction time for the year. And that's pretty impressive as well.
Absolutely. And that's why I think he won. We talk about the on-track stuff and the off-track stuff, and we discussed it a little bit last week. I referenced it. You can go back and hear a very in-depth conversation. But as far as what he can do, right, in Top Fuel Dragster, sometimes you overpower the racetrack. They were fighting the weight balance issues early on. But being on the tree and having competitive reaction times, he did a great job. And that intensity, those reactions, the ability to go up there and step up and leave with AB and Justin Ashley and Steve Torrence and those guys, he demonstrated it. And that is a huge part of Top Fuel racing. He was locked in, and someone says it looks like he has more fun running the A Fuel car than he does Top Fuel. I kind of can understand that. But then again, he's winning a lot of races over there too. So that's probably part of it.
Well, a big thing about the A Fuel car, and because this year he never ran it at national events. If you remember a year ago or a couple of years ago, he was running the car from time to time at national events. And then he's busy running back and forth and doing what he's got to do, kind of overseeing his pro teams and doing his sponsor obligations and other things at the nationals. Doesn't have much of that at the regional race. So he does have, it is a little bit more relaxed. It is a little bit more laid back. And the McPhillips team will actually let him touch the car occasionally. And that's something that Neil and Mike won't. Okay, maybe you can pack a parachute, but don't get too close. And over on the McPhillips side of the fence, I actually, let him pick up a wrench or a screwdriver every once in a while. So I think that, he definitely is in a more relaxed atmosphere over there.
And, we all are happy that Dominic is here. That was pretty cool that he was able to fly in and make race day for the finals. Leah did such a great job. And it looks like he's found a home in drag racing. Antron was saying it yesterday on the ePart trade deal. I just dropped a link in the chat section, guys, because at the top of the hour, I'm going to switch over to ePart trade. I'm going to do an interview with Tony Stewart. We're going to wrap up here with Alan in a few minutes. But just something that it's like he has found home in NHRA drag racing. I'm going to ask him about it, but I know you guys are close, and the effort to come in and be a part of the NHRA family. And there was not 1 ounce, in case anybody wonders, of like the balance to what you said about driving, right? Like, oh, this is easy. It's just going straight. There was no, I'm Tony Stewart coming here from IndyCar and NASCAR Hall of Famer. So, he was getting into it with, he's hanging out in the lanes, hanging out with sportsman racers, like learning every aspect of it. I'm available however you need me to help. I'm willing to help however you need me to help the sport of drag racing, to elevate the sport of drag racing. And I think we saw it. I think we saw a Tony Stewart effect at many of the races this year. And it's not all going to be the first year. It's, not every Tony Stewart fan is just going to drop everything to go watch NHRA drag racing. They're going to see how it goes. I think we're going to see it into next year.
Well, I guess part of that depends on what the plan is for next year. And if you know that, I don't. And if Tony's going to share it later on today, then maybe, the world will find out. But I have not heard anything official as far as what his plan is for next year. I don't know if Leah's planning on being back in the car as of Gainesville, or if Tony's planning on being in the car in Gainesville, or if they're talking about something. I just don't know. So I guess we'll wait and see. But I know that he'll be out there, in some form or fashion. I don't think there's any doubt about that. It's just a matter of, where all the pieces fall. And I'm not sure if they've got any of that or all of that worked out yet.
Yeah, and I'm going to ask him, like that's one of the questions I've got written down, like what is the plan for next year? What are you going to do? And hopefully like he can't reveal everything, but maybe he can give us some indication, or maybe he'll choose to reveal it on that worldwide platform, eparttrade.com. And it'll be interesting. He was wiping slicks for Mike Coughlin at Maple Grove, fully hands-on. And that's what he said early on, like racer's racer, like the perfect position between the professionalism of NASCAR and the grassroots nature of sprint cars and dirt track racing, where he came up from.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people have been surprised about how approachable he is, competitors in particular, when he's in the staging lanes. There have been a lot of the alcohol racers that, were maybe a little intimidated about going over and saying hi, or going over and introduce them if they were going to run them in a qualifying run, or if they were going to. And everybody that I've spoken to was very pleasantly surprised about how open he was, about how, he knows he's the new guy on the block here. He knows that, this is your club, and I'm hoping to be welcomed in as a member at some point. And that's kind of the approach that he's taking. But being up there when Mike Coughlin runs, or if there's any other teammates, when Matt Cummins was driving one of the cars, if Tony was out of competition, or if Tony had run earlier or was running later, he would be up there rooting on his teammate and, being a solid team player. But I think, certainly less pressure in drag racing than there was for him in IndyCar or in NASCAR. And I think that, he's just really enjoying the entire experience. At a NASCAR race, there was no hang out at the back of the hauler for the, fans to come by, because those fortunate few that had a garage pass expected all the drivers to be hiding out someplace. Or, maybe you catch him while he's walking to the driver's meeting or whatever, and you get, the classic, right?
Yeah, and there's a mob.
Yeah, here you go. And the fact that Tony now will spend time just hanging out by the ropes, taking pictures and talking to the fans and enjoying the entire experience. It's a very different world that we have over here than what he's used to, and it looks like he's embraced it all.
I'm very proud of that. I've done a lot of work on the NASCAR side of things, spent time at NASCAR Radio. Hopefully everybody knows that. And, the nature of the track, right? Like, I don't think that the NASCAR community is anti-fan by any means. It's just like cars coming and going off the hot track, and the track separates the fans from the experience. Whereas we have this open pit since the 1950s. And it's weird, but it's as if the typical drag racing fan, John Force just walked by and they just think it's cool. Don Prudhomme standing right there. So it's almost as if they're trained for it to be no big deal to see superstar celebrities. And they have adopted that with Tony. Like, nobody has gone crazy, like, oh my God, Tony Stewart, and run him. You see him just standing around, chilling out. He's got to go to work. They let him go to work. I have been, not that I had any doubt, but I'm proud of the behavior of the drag racing fans as Tony Stewart comes over from a sport where he gets mobbed for, a lock of his hair. They're chasing him with scissors.
Well, drag racing fans are used to the access, though, and they understand that, hey, if I don't catch him now, I'll have a chance to get him after this run, or I'll have a chance to get him tomorrow, or I'll have a chance to get him. Whereas with NASCAR fans, just because the access is so much more difficult, if you have a chance to get an interaction with your driver, to get a selfie or to get an autograph, you better jump on it, because who knows what your next event is going to be. And that's something that NHRA fans, I think, are much more respectful, because they understand, there's a reason John Force doesn't get mobbed when he goes out to restaurants. Because if you're a racing fan and you wanted an autograph or a picture with John, you've already got it. He does all of that stuff when he's at the racetrack. And that's why, the NASCAR guys, again, and I'm not throwing rocks at them, it's just a different area in a different arena. The way, as you mentioned, the way their tracks are set up, just basically the footprint of the track, you couldn't tell all of the fans, okay, come on down in the pits, during the next caution after the green, white, checkered, and, see your favorite driver for a minute, because one, you can't get there. Two, they're not getting out of the cars. They're not accessible. It's just a different atmosphere in a different world.
Exactly. Well, I'm excited. I'll be talking to him at the top of the hour. The link is in the chat if you guys want to sign up for ePart Trade. And I don't mind sending them some of my audience for, half hour or so. And then Erica tomorrow. Very excited about Erica. Got a couple minutes left now before I got to go get ready for that. What are you hearing? What's on your radar as toolboxes move around? I always like to be respectful, and you help teach me this as well, of teams and their news and when they want to release it. PRI is coming up. NHRA is going to have the big NHRA stage. That seems to be where a lot of news gets dropped. And certainly if something happened and is a secret, it comes out at PRI a week from now. So I'm content to wait, but anything we should keep our eye on?
Well, I don't have anything that I can officially report as of right now. I was, however, looking at the NHRA on Fox schedule, and Tony Stewart is Thursday or Friday, with an NHRA announcement. So whether that will be, here's the plan for next year, what TSR Nitro is going to do going forward or not, I'm not sure. But that's going to be one that I'm definitely going to make sure is on my calendar, no matter what's going on, to go by and make sure that I'm one of the first, at least, to get in on the news.
Exactly. Going to hear from Erica Enders on the deal as well tomorrow, and it's going to be interesting. Kind of funny, Erica. Horrible year, Erica. Won the Gator Nationals, finished fourth in the points, right? Like, the bar is clearly very high for Erica Enders. But next year, I think she's going to come out, Mean E might be back.
Well, Erica doesn't expect to win one race a year. Erica expects to win 6 races a year or 10 races a year. And she had a decent car. She certainly was part of the big four that at least I was talking about the second half of the season. Just didn't have it all fall her way this time. And I guarantee you that they're not taking a whole lot of time off in Winterwood, Oklahoma right now, because not only did the KB Titan guys get the championship, but they finished 1-2, and that's going to be a bit of a sting. The last couple of years, Erica's won the championship. Greg has finished second. And, they both battled down to the wire. And even though, yes, it certainly went down to the wire, it went down to the semifinals in Pomona this year. But the fact that KB Titan finished 1 and 2, I think is just going to light an even bigger fire under the Elite Motorsports guys, as if they needed one. But I do want to wish the best for Mark Ingersoll. I think him not being there certainly showed. Elite has got a tremendous team. They've got great personnel, but Mark Ingersoll, his knowledge, his experience, he was kind of the overseer. I think that was a big part of it. And I understand that Jake Harrison is dealing with some stuff right now too. And so I want to wish him the best, as they're doing, taking care of what they need to do away from the track. And then they'll be ready to get back after it.
Absolutely. And I had a conversation with Kyle Bates at the awards banquet, and we kind of talked a little bit about, the situation. And he said flat out to me, and I'm quite certain it was for public, that the weather conditions that the final and the semifinals were running were outside of the window of the young guys that were tuning the car, Kyle and Chase, that was outside of their experience level. And that's where they would have really relied on Mark and his 50 years of pro stock as things got really cold and the track was really tight. And, he just said, we gave it our best shot and we came up a little bit short. But Richard has been very clear about what's important over the last half of the season. And it's one of those things, and I'll do my best, Richard. I'm not going to do an impression, but what he said was that this is the time where you really learn what's important in life. And it's the people around you and the family that you've built. And so everything from this point was about Mark Ingersoll and Jake and making sure that those guys, are with the team and with the fam for the future. And I thought, that made perfect sense to me.
Yeah, I agree. And, as much as they want to win races, there are certainly things in life that are more important than winning races. And hopefully, those two guys will be back healthy 100%. And then, they'll be right back at it. I guarantee it. Because, I've known Mark Ingersoll a long time. He and I worked together. We spent some time together when we were both down at Nickens all those years ago. And the guy's a competitor. I guarantee you, wherever he was, he had his iPad, he had his phone, he had his computer, and he was doing what he could to help from there. While I'm certain somebody was telling him, relax, right? Don't get your blood pressure up. Just take it easy. But racing is what he does. And it doesn't matter, wherever he is or whatever's going on. That's always something that, his mind is ticking away back there about, what about this? What about that? What about this? And knowing that the team was out there, doing the best that they could do without him, something he was doing everything he could to help in whatever capacity that was.
Alan, great job as usual. Next week, we'll connect ahead of PRI and kind of set the table for some of the big storylines. I think some more things will be leaking out as we get ready for the PRI 2024, the last, gasp of the 2024 racing season. Or is it the first gasp of 2025? As we get ready to go, there'll be the Pro Superstar Shootout in Bradenton and then Gainesville, and then we'll be off on the journey once again, coming up quick. And I will be working nonstop and tirelessly on Project Pontiac to get that thing on the racetrack, and you'll be able to follow. I will let you know how all the progress we're making.
Well, because you're going to be so tied up with that, I'm, kind of taking the lead and taking the ball and running with it on the Joe and Alan racing team.
Yes.
The 2 Top Fuel, 2 Funny Car effort that we're going to put together next year hasn't been officially announced yet. Just need a couple of things to fall in place. Couple of things, a couple of briefcases full of cash wouldn't hurt.
Yeah. Talk to Randy Grady.
Getting trucks and trailers ordered and trying to figure out which tool company we're going to go with and, which oil company we're going to go with. And those things I'm working away on that. So, I'll keep you posted with that while you work on the Super Street car, which obviously is, far less maintenance and probably far more fun.
I don't know about that, but yes, far less maintenance once it's done. No, super excited. The whole idea, let's just go with that, right? I'm also beginning my training regimen, Alan. The diet, the training, the running, like the Rocky montage. It's all happening behind the scenes. All right, man. We'll see you next week. Thank you so much.
All right. Have fun with smoke. Talk to you soon.
There he goes. The voice of the NHRA, Alan Reinhart, joins us each week right here on WFO Radio. All right, guys, put your comments in the comments section. Got a couple of minutes. Going to talk to you a little bit about that, and then we'll switch over to eparttrade.com. What I would like, why are you doing this to us, Joe? Like, this is WFO. This is your brand. Well, I want those guys, Francisque and Judy and everybody over there, to see a big pop for Tony Stewart, right? They're going to see a big pop. They'd be like, drag racing. This is the sport, man. We need to do more of this. And it'll be good for drag racing if the entire WFO universe signs up over there at the same time. But first, just want to mention our friends at PowerTube TV. If you haven't downloaded the app on Roku, you should. Pastime and all the classic shows are on there. Plus, you can watch WFO Radio. They'll be at PRI, and I'm going to be swinging by their booth as well. It's going to be great. Also, Marvin Rodak, coffee, hot sauce, spice rub. This is amazing. You see me lift this mug, and I'm getting fired up. The mugs are 40% off right now, by the way. Also, Black Friday or Cyber Monday or whatever. But call Marvin, 817-924-6821. Call him, order some coffee for the holidays, just to have in your house. The aroma is amazing. It is the best of the best. Or maybe you want to send it to someone as a gift. It makes a tremendous gift because it's extra sensory experience. The aroma, the experience opening it, then you're brewing it, you're grinding it maybe. You got to find out if the person has their own grinder, though. Bottom line, call Marvin, 817-924-6821. If you want to go big, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. Send someone on the Dragster Adventure. Call them, frankhawley.com. Go to the website, get the number, call them, say, hey, I heard about you on WFO Radio. I would like to send this as a gift to my wife, to my spouse, to myself, to my team, to my best sales guys, to the people who buy the most from me. I'm in the parts business, and someone buys the most from you. You send them on the Dragster Adventure, an experience that they will remember for a lifetime. Stop with the nonsense gifts. You hear this guy on the screen telling you about it. It's time to start listening to the guy on the screen. Okay. You're buying, a tie, a this, a that, an Outback gift card. No, get Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, Dragster Adventure for someone. It's a little more expensive, but they're worth it. And maybe you go with them. You do a team building experience. frankhawley.com. Tell them you heard about it on WFO Radio. Also love to shout out our friends at samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. And remember, right now, Black Friday 2024, all one word, is the promo code for Foggett. 20% off. Black Friday 2024. And you will save 20% on your can of Foggett that sits in your studio, or you use it. You can bet, let me tell you something. Project Pontiac, I'm going to store it in a vat of Foggett. Guaranteed. And of course, our Patreons. The Patreons know the horsepower number for Project Pontiac. You ask people to become a VIP member of an organization and form a community We were talking to Jolie Stanfield. She was sharing her bracket racing experience from this past weekend out there racing top dragster at, State Capitol Raceway. The Patreons are the backstage pass to WFO Radio. Am I going to hold back anything from the Patreons? The answer is no. If you join for a year, you get a t-shirt, you get patches, you get decals. You're part of a secret society and a community. And it's amazing how we have retained all our Patreons. And occasionally you hear the cat climb up the wall and I scream at it. And it's like, they like that too, apparently. That happened yesterday. Patreon.com/WFO Radio. And shout out to Bernie Speed Shop and Hussey Performance and CWT Industries. Again, 5223 and 5323. 2 booth spots. They're usually on the end cap in Machinery Row. We'll announce a time next week when I'm going to be down there at CWT Industries. But we're going to go by FTI. We're going to go by Total Seal. We're going to be by Foggett for the reveal of Project Pontiac, Foggett booth 2312. Next week, bring your pad and I'll give you all the booth numbers you need to know. Shout out to our friends at Torque Calibration Services of Australia. Of course, FTI Performance, Total Seal, and Jesse Converters. They're going to be there as well. Going to go hang out with the Latinos. It's going to be a lot of fun. All the way with WFO. This guy loves Great Ignition Show. He's like 800 horsepower, question mark? Yeah, did it? Did it make 800 horsepower? Can my car handle 800 horsepower? Like, that is a good question. That is a good question. Like, did we achieve 800? And more importantly, we already have proven we have a reliable piece. And the most important, I think, as far as I'm concerned, and I will share this with you because I think about my dad all the time, right? It looks great. Oh my goodness. This is a modern Pontiac. Project Pontiac. Like the color scheme, and it's Pontiac blue under there. But very modern looking race engine. And I'm very excited about it. Very excited. All right, guys. ePartTrade.com right now. If you're watching in the future, you can actually go back and find the interviews on ePartTrade. They are available to you. You can go find Antron. You can find Smoke. You can find Erica. I think Brad Gerber from the NHRA. Oh, man, I'm going to pitch him a bunch of fastballs. He doesn't know what's coming. But that's happening tomorrow. But if you're live right now, sign up for ePartTrade right now, and you will have content to watch for the rest of the week. All kinds of good stuff from the world of motorsports. Thanks to Alan Reinhart. Thanks to everybody for supporting Project Pontiac. Check out the videos. Subscribe on YouTube. And check out the playlist, Project Pontiac, so you don't miss any. Yeah, I'm pushing it hard. And oh, by the way, the Project Pontiac official t-shirt, the first shirt, is available on our TeePublic store. The link is in the chat right now, and it is 40% off. I think two-sided t-shirt, $22 to your door. And you can get all kinds of different stuff out there as well. And that's all I got. Thank you very much. Appreciate you all. WFO. Next week, we'll talk PRI, and then we'll see you at PRI. Ignition is in the archive. A lot of bracket racing talk. If you love bracket racing, heavy bracket racing talk on Ignition. Audio only. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. WFO.